Morning Year 5s. A little bit of a drizzly Wednesday today. I heard it rain in the night as well actually. The garden is still loving it. The grass is looking very long again. But it is time for our maths do-nows and more percentage questions. Hopefully we're doing quite well. I did phone calls yesterday. Me and Mrs. Croft did half and half again. And it sounds like a lot of us are doing well with these percentages. So that's great to hear, and it was lovely to chat to some of you as well yesterday. Ooh. So, let's have a look at our do now. I've got some of these ready because I'm aware that this video could be a bit longer today. So, 77, you should have that one. That one there, and then this one here. I'm not going to go through those because we've done enough of those. Same with these ones here. I just want you to check your answers here. So, here's your fraction ones. So changing that to an improper, so how many 7 times 7, and then add the numerator. This one here, how many 7s into 34, 4 with 6 extras. And then making your improper, and then converting it to a mixed. And remember, you could also have 1/6, because you can halve both of those. On to this up here. So, you've got yourself, I need to apologise as well first. So, I confused myself this morning. I looked at this as if it was one question. I got very confused. It's actually 2 questions. I've laid it out very badly. So that's question 1 and that's question 2. Okay. So if the volume of a cube is 27 centimeters cubed, what must the sides measure? So you need to think of, well, we're thinking of our cube numbers here, aren't we? So something that is timed by itself 3 times, because a square, we know the face of a square makes up a cube, and we know that the sides of squares are all the same. So we need the same number times by itself 3 times. So, for example, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. It can't be that because we need to get to 27. 3 times, you can go through it if you wanted to. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3, is 27. So, the sides, too far, the sides must measure 3 by 3, and then back by 3 as well, okay, to make 27. So the answer is 3. Right, the biggie for today. I really wanted to show you this one. I've drawn it bigger so you can see, and if you can, I would suggest doing the same. Now, this is pretty much like finding the area of a compound shape. Another slurp of coffee to get myself ready. So, if you forget that it's 3D for a minute, you've got yourself a compound shape, and to find the area, we would be splitting it, wouldn't we? That's exactly what you're going to do here. It doesn't actually matter that it's 3D at this point. So, we need to find the volume of the shape. So let's have a look. We've got a 4 here, we've got 8 here, 7 here, 3 here, and we've also got it going 10 back. Okay. So, let's split this. Let's cut this shape just like we would do with area for compound shapes. And I can see that if I do this, we've got ourselves a cuboid up there and a cuboid on the bottom. Okay, we've got 2 separate ones put together here, which makes it a lot easier. So this one at the bottom, I'm going to forget that for a minute, is 8 by 4 by 10. We can work that out. So what should we do first? I think maybe 8 times 10. So 8 times 10 is 80. And then we need our 4 as well. So 8 times 4, 8 4s, 8, 16, 24, 32. And then we've got our 0. So we're on 320. Okay. Now we've got this one. So we can now we're focusing on this shape here. Now there's not as much on this one. We've got our 3 here. We need to get this height. We know it's 7 all the way up. And remember, if you look, you always have more information. We need to work out how high up we already are. And it's here, look. So we're already on 4. To carry on gets to 7. So what's the difference between 4 and 7? 4, 5, 6, 7. So this bit here is 3. So now I've got 3 by 3. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. We've got this length, we've got this measurement, haven't we? Because it's the same. So this one is 3 by 3 by 10. So 10 times 3 is 30. Times that by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Bring the 0 on the end is 90. So this one here is 90 centimetres cubed. And this one here is 320 centimetres cubed. Altogether, because we're finding the volume of the whole thing, you just add them up. So it's our compound shapes for area, just with an extra dimension. All right. If you didn't get this, don't worry too much. This was kind of I saw it and went, ooh, I reckon some of us could do this because we've got this skill already. And then you can just add them together. So 320 and 90, so that's going to be 410. So the answer is going to be 410 centimetres cubed. That was a challenge in our Do Now, but you know, I like to drop in challenges now. We're in the last half term of year 5, and you've got the skill for that. Okay, so really interesting to see if you got that. Well, I don't know if you did, by the way, or at least got close to it. Right, on to our lesson for today. Now, I was going to just do an answer sheet, but I'm in the mood to go through these and point out that they're actually not that tricky. So, totally real life here. You'll go to a shop, you'll have percentages off, you'll need to know how much they actually cost. At first, these look petrifying. Now, you know we don't do maths for a test, but in year 6, and to be fair, every year, you know you have your little arithmetic test, which is literally, here's a calculation, solve it. You'll see a lot like this. Percentage of whatever, boom, what's the answer? And at first you might go, oh my god, percentages, but actually, you know, pretty simple. So this first one here, 50%. We know 50% is half. 25%, we know that's half of half, because it's half of 50. 10% we're dividing by 10. And as you start to look at these, you think, actually, I could probably do quite a lot of these in my head or with a very quick scribble of something. So this first one here, 50% of 65. So what's half of 65? Well, I know half of 64 is 32, or I know that half of 66 is 33. Okay, so we just need to put like a 0.5 on. So if I was on 32, which gets to 64, if I go 32.5, it's going to go to 65. So I'm going to say £32.50, because 32 and 32 is 64. Sorry, I'm talking and I'm not showing you here. But we should know this though. So 32 and 32 is going to make 64. A 0.5 or a 50p and a 50p is another pound, which gets to 65. Okay, but let's be honest, in year 5 we should be able to halve our numbers, whether it's odd or even. So I'm not going to go too far into that. So the first one is £32.50. I'm going to write it down just so I don't forget. So I'm just going to put number 1, £32.50. Lovely. Number 2, so this one here, 25% of 24. Well, let's pretend that's 50%. I can do half of 24. So half of 24, that's 12. 25% is half of half. So what's half of 12? 6. So number 2 is £6. 10% of £5.50. Well, don't forget, 10% is just dividing by 10. Now, our decimal point is going to go from here to here, and it's going to make 0.55. In money, that's 0.55, so no pounds, 55p. I'll show you down here, look, in case you need to see this one. So number 3, you're on £5.50, and it moves to here, which makes 0.55. Okay, which is 55p, or 0.55 pounds, but that's 55p. Okay, number 4, which is 20% of 105. Well, 10% is easy, isn't it? 10% equals £10.50. Or 10.5. So 20% is going to be double that. So that's that one. Oh, I'll tell you what, well, 250s is another pound, isn't it? So that's going to be 20, so that's going to be 21. £21. because 2 50p's make a pound, don't forget. So double the 10 is 20, 2 50p's is an extra pound. Number 5. I'm aware I'm going fast here, guys, but it's because these percentages are pretty simple. We've been looking at these. You'd have done things like these on Monday. It's just in the form of money. 5. So 1% of £22. Right, okay. So we're going to remember the decimal point is here. 1% is divided by 100 because there are 100 ones in 100. So we're going to divide by 100. So it becomes 0.22. So the answer is either 0.22 pounds or 22p. Number 6 is 10% of £5. Well, so there's our number. So 10% of £5, 0.5, which is, you can put 0.5 pounds like that if you want to, or 50p. Now the only way I can really see any of us getting a bit confused here is because we're using money. Okay, so if you are getting confused, just write it like that and keep it in pounds. But I'd like to think we can all put it in 50p. Or for pence for any of them. Right, that was the first bit. And genuinely, guys, I am expecting you to have been able to do that pretty sharpish. Those percentages are very nice and easy. A lot of us maybe even doing that in our heads. The next section, we've got 75% of 20. So 75% requires a couple of steps. So if we're on 20, we want 75%. Well, let's do 50 first. So what's half? Well, that's 10. That's £10. Now 50 and 25 make 75, so let's get 25% as well. 25% is just as easy because we halve 50%. So half of 50% is 5. 50 and 25 is 75. So 10 and 5 is going to be £15. There's your answer. Okay? And I'll be on it, that's fine if you have to scribble that down. But again, there's no real calculation there. We were just halving numbers and adding them together. So that was number 1. Number 2. Ooh, 5%. Ooh, now that could be tasty. Oh, whoops. Or is it? We could just halve some more numbers, can't we? So, what can we divide by very quickly? We can't halve it. That's 50%. That's too far away. Halve that against 25. Nowhere near 5. What else can we do? We can do 10 and find half of that. So, £150. 10% is going to be 15, which means 5%, because that is half of 10, is half of this. So half of 15 is 7.5, so in money, £7.50. When you start to break this down, percentages are not too scary. Although I have been mean with these next ones. These next two was a little test of your retrieval. Because all year we've had a little thing hung up in our classroom with the fractions, decimals and percentages. And when we looked at fractions, decimals and percentages, we had a look at 33.3 and 66.6%. I'm wondering whether you can remember what they mean. And remember, it needs to make 100. You're going to kick yourselves now. That's a third, so therefore that's 2/3. Okay, so even though this looks really scary because you've got a decimal in the percentage, 0.33 is a third, so 33.3% is a third. So you just need to find a third of 36, or even simpler, a third of 36 simply means, I'm trying to be nice and quick here, so 33.3% is a third. So what are we on, 36? You just need to find one part that goes into 36 3 times. So 36 divided by 3, so what goes into 36 3 times? It's our times table skills again. 12. Okay? And because you only want 1/3, that's one piece, isn't it? 12, 24, 36. 12, 12, and 12 is what makes 36. So one of them is that. Your next question is actually very nice because it follows on. So 66.6% is 2/3 because it's 2 of that one. And you still want to find £36, of £36, sorry. So if 33.3% was 12, 1/3, how much is 2/3 going to be? Well, it's going to be 2 of them, isn't it? So that's 24. Easy as that. First of all, curious to know whether you remembered that that was 1/3 and 2/3. If not, don't worry. Hopefully that made a bit of sense there. And the last two on this section I'm going to rush through. So, the last two are nice and easy. 1% of 206, we divide that by 100, don't we? So, £2.06. 2% of 206, well, we've just found 1%. Double it. So, £2.06 becomes £4.12. Lovely jubbly. Right, the last section. And I'm going to find another piece of paper. It's the only problem with this little Doctor Who notepad. It's not as big as the other one. So, the last section, you'll notice we've got over 100%. Now, we mentioned on Monday, and we mentioned months ago, when we did this in class, that 100% means all of it. So, this is quite simple. In all of these, you're either on 100 or more, but if you look at the extra bits, you've got 50, 10, 15, 25, 2. We can do all of those. So the 100 is just the amount you've already got. So 100% of £10 is obviously £10. So to find 150%, you just need to find the 50. Okay? So I'll do it down here, just to help. Oh, we're on 17 minutes already. Ooh. So, we've got 150% of £10. Okay? So, 100% of that is obviously £10. 50% of that, now you know to halve it, is going to be £5. So if you add 50% and 100%, you get 15. Okay? So you're still doing your skill of halving, but you're adding it onto the 100%. So the first one is 15. The second one, well, let's be honest, is laughable. 100% is £2. What's 200%? It's just double, isn't it? It's £4. Same with this one, 210%. Well, what's 10% first? So 10% is going to be 50p. And then 200 is 2 lots of it. So if we go on £5 here, we just said that 10% is 0.5, because we do that, don't we? Or 50p. 200, well, 100 is 5. So 200 is double that. So that's going to be 10. So 210 is going to be £10.50. Boom, there's your answer. And I'm aware of the time, so I'm going to leave that there. If you've managed to get to this part, you should be able to do the last few. So the last one here, you've got 100%, which is 15, and then 15%. So find 10%, find 5%. And the same for the rest of these. And to be fair, you've got 2 word questions here, which mean exactly the same thing. We'll just quickly run through what you need to do. Okay? Your jeans have been reduced by 15%. They're originally £40. So this question is literally 15% of £40. We've been doing stuff like that up here. You can either find 10% and then times it by 4, or find 10% and 50% and just take 10% off. And then this one here, it's gone up by 66.6. So remember, that's gone up by 2/3. So you need to find 1/3. Well, what goes into £1.53 times? 50, 50, 50. So 50p. So how many are 2 50p's? So, Sorry I've rushed that last bit, but I was aware the video was getting quite long. The main bit is can you solve these, but if you can do those, you can have a pretty good go at those ones, guys. Okay, so well done, fantastic, and hopefully the realm of percentages is opening up in your minds, and you're starting to realise that actually it's just a lot of halving and doubling and finding a number pattern. So well done, fantastic, guys.